in Liberia. It comes from a solid civil society, anti-corruption, transparency, rule of law, governance background. He will be one of our panelists to look at all of the issues around the independence, the speeches, the ways forward. We will also have with us Jacob Jala, a new proselyte of the coalition for the Congress of Democratic Change. He has been all around in terms of this show and many other platforms. He's not a stranger to this platform. He comes with a wealth of analytical prowess. Representing the opposition angle, he will be here. And then comes in Muhammad Ali, head of one of the gradually resurgent government institutions, the LPRC. He's a top Unity Party man. We call those kinds of people quiet but ruthless intellectual. He will come here from the end of the government, and we expect to have quite an engaging conversation surrounding our country's democracy and the ways forward. Before that, we'll discuss other issues. I won't say anything about it. As you know me, once I have guests coming in on a particular thing, I don't talk about it. Yeah, I don't do that. So, no discussion on independence business. But trust me, there are some very juicy pieces of discussion to talk about. So, share the video. We're live on Facebook. Nyanti will join me after the fact check. What did Liberia's finance minister Augustine B. Gafuan say about the quote-unquote 500 million compact from the U.S. government? What are the details? What do we need to know? Nyanti was at the news conference. He will join me in studio to give you what the sport reporters will call play-by-play description of what the finance minister said. And then some big discussions ahead of us. Drivers protesting. Liberia traffic management still in the news for all of the wrong reasons. All of those issues, I don't draw back from very critical issues that concern you, the people. We will follow to the very end. The discussion has been around. I have not commented on it. I have not said a word. I have not written a thing about it. The situation involving the police officer and a lady, alleged power theft issues, and everything else that happened. It is a tough, hard discussion to venture into, but I have prayed for wisdom, and I'm entering it today. We place the chips where they should be. And we will try to bring sense to the conscience of the nation. In times like these, we have to provide direction. So that is that. And so this is where we go next, only on VOK Conversation on OKFM 99.5, indisputably the biggest thing on radio anywhere in Liberia at this time.
But you never know that this is like
What is making news? More than 40 people were killed in an attack by an Islamic State affiliate in northeastern Democratic Republic of Congo, the UN and the military said. Most of them were worshippers taking part in the night vigil at a church in the town of Komanda when they were attacked by Allied Democratic Forces ADF fighters. 9 of those killed were children, the UN peacekeeping mission said. Cameroon opposition leader Cameroon's opposition leader Maurice Kamto has been excluded from the list of candidates in the 12 October presidential election. Only 13 of the 83 names submitted to the country's electoral body, Elecam, were accepted. Kamto came second in the 2018 elections amid allegations of fraud. He has not yet commented on the decision. He came second last time. There's find somewhere else to sit down. And the United States is suspending all routine visa services at its embassy in Niger's capital, Niamey, until further notice. The State Department cited concerns with the government of Niger, but offered no further details. Diplomatic and official visas will still be processed, but a recent internal cable instructs U.S. consular officers worldwide to apply heightened scrutiny to all visa applicants from Niger. The cable pointed to high overstay rates, 8% for visitor visas and 27% for student and exchange visas, to justify the tougher stance. This move comes as the U.S. continues tightening immigration policies with reports of increased visa revocations and the surveillance of foreign nationals. Share the video, invite others to join in. The discussion is juicy. It promises to be quite juicy. So today we're doing a local-based analysis of the events surrounding the 26th and everything else. Tomorrow I hope to do the international one. I want to do the international one tomorrow, where I can bring in Liberians from Europe and the US. Yep, that will be available to have the discussion. So I'm not going to analyze anything about 26 until perhaps Wednesday, when I believe I will not have guests to talk about 26. You hear from me some very key things to say. But as it stands, that is what it is. Let's take a break with some of our sponsors only on the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5.
Things are on me with the emergency. How do I manage again?
But I know, why are you sitting here just talking by yourself?
Julie, I need money quick. I want to go find somebody to credit me. Then I will pay them as soon as I get paid with the more in.
EcoBank can credit you, but the only thing you have to pay in 1 month, and the good thing, the interest are just 3%.
For you?
Yeah, just go to any EcoBank branch and you ask for the form to enroll you on their salary advance platform. When they get you the form, you fill it up and you make sure your HR sign it. Then you take that form back to the bank. After you carry it to the bank, they will send you a message to let you know that you're already on the platform. Then you can use the *326# and request for 50% of your salary. Instantly, you will receive it.
Wow, just like that? Break any to more money today. I'm going to the bank to pick up the phone quick.
Yo, go get the form quick. In less than 1 week, you will receive the money. And what I like about it, and they can even ask you for collateral set.
I go with there right now, no wasting time, oh.
I'm not saying you must not go there right now. You must make sure you pay the bank money back.
Hey, Judy, that you talking slow, so I will pay back quick so I can credit again. EcoBank is easy. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
a man who takes care of development in our country.
We all do, my baby. You see, every time we pay our taxes, we are taking care of our country, Mama Liberia. Taxes help provide clean water, safe communities, and jobs for our people. When you pay your tax, Liberia grows.
Be proud, be responsible. Pay your taxes for a better Liberia. Pay tax, we all enjoy.
Yamaha, CFL Mobility. Yamaha, I don't ride Yamaha, I can move in the mall on top of the sky. Yamaha, I don't ride Yamaha, I can move in the water like quota. Yamaha, I don't ride Yamaha, I can move in the mall on top of the sky. Yamaha, I don't ride Yamaha, I can move in the water like quota. Yamaha, J, the king of the road and the giant for all of the quota. Once in all can fly on the ocean, it can take you from Ghana with motion. CFL Mobility, I can sell the original quality. The people in the city will celebrate Yamaha birthday, dropping the prices on Yamaha birthday. Making the service affordable, spare by the two bananas and strap up the people that selling the commercial Yamaha motorbike, selling a fishing boat engine. July 1st by the Yamaha birthday. Today that Yamaha birthday, we offering services, discount prices at our office in Santa Lawa. We're talking it and we're doing it bigger. Today that Yamaha birthday, July 1st by the Yamaha birthday. Today that Yamaha birthday, July 1st by the Yamaha birthday. Today that Yamaha birthday, July 1st by the Yamaha birthday. Today that Yamaha birthday. Whoa, my people, this July 1st, Yamaha Motor is celebrating 70 powerful years. In Liberia, you are invited. Come stay on time just before Lockington Cinema for a one-of-a-kind celebration. Yamaha is more than just motorcycle. We are powering land and water. Check out our strong, fuel-efficient Yamaha motorbike built for Liberia's road, reliable for your hustle, and now available at special discount prices. Trust my little Yamaha and play and for our river communities and business people, Yamaha world-class boat engine are ready for you too. Yamaha get boat engines that are very powerful, trusted worldwide, and they are now available in Liberia. Do you need servicing or you need spare parts? Forget about it. Yamaha get your solution on July 1st. Just check out our Seyon Town office before Lockington Cinema. You will see Yamaha Baby. You check there on the 1st of July from the morning to the afternoon or the evening. You will see the people doing services at our special anniversary discount prices. Yamaha Motors on the road and on the river, we move forward. Quietly.
Welcome back. This is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5. Let's take our fact check segment. When we come back, we'll tell you some of the things that are happening as Nyanti Toba will join us in studio to give us updates on what did the finance minister say on today at the news conference, especially in relations to the NCC Compact. Yep. So let's go.
Good day and welcome to the Fact Check segment. This segment debunks disinformation and provides the verified facts of statements made online and on the radio. My name is Siawe Miapu, and today we'll be fact-checking claims made in the last couple of days. To begin with, on July 25, Jefferson Chison, former Assistant Minister of Public Works, he claimed in a Facebook post that Liberia lost the Millennium Challenge Corporation Compact grant due to accusations of bad governance, corruption, police brutality, and disrespect for the rule of law. Chison also alleged that Sierra Leone, the Gambia, Ghana, Senegal, and Togo signed NCC Compact programs for 2025 following a furthering assistance review. A review of the official NCC website reveals no statement attributing Liberia's compact status to corruption or disrespect for the rule of law. Instead, on December 18, 2024, the NCC Board of Directors selected Liberia as eligible to develop a compact for fiscal year 2025. This indicates that Liberia is currently engaged in the compact development process and has not been excluded or denied, contrary to Chison's claim. Our research also shows that Sierra Leone, the Gambia, Senegal, and Togo signed their compacts for fiscal year 2024, and the funding was approved in July 2025. Furthermore, Ghana is not among the African countries that received an NCC Compact for fiscal year 2024 as claimed by Chison. We would like to emphasize that the NCC Compact involves several steps, including eligibility selection, compact development, approval, and official signing before the agreement enters into force. Liberia remains on course in this process. Based on our research, we conclude that the claim made by Jefferson Chison that Liberia lost the NCC Compact due to alleged corruptions of bad governance is misleading. As of December 2024, Liberia was selected to develop a new compact and remains on track in the MCC's process. On July 21, Mo Ali, the managing director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, claimed on Facebook that the Improving Results in Secondary Education project for Liberia was initiated at the end of the first Unity Party government's second term, that's from 2016 to 2017. To verify this, we contacted Mo Ali asking for the source of his information, but we have not received a response. We then searched the World Bank's website and found that the first disclosure of the ARISE project was on April 29, 2019, by which time former President George Weah had been in office for over a year. The project was officially approved by the World Bank on July 2, 2019 and came into effect on October 15, 2019. On July 19, 2019, the Liberian government, represented by then Minister Samuel Ditowa Jonion, signed the financing agreements for US $47 million with the World Bank. There is no evidence that former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration had any involvement with or mention of the ARISE project. Based on these findings, we conclude that the claim made by Mo Ali that the ARISE education project was initiated during the Sirleaf administration is misleading, as all evidence points to its initiation under former President George Weah's administration. This is all we have time for on the Fact Check segment. This segment is part of an MOU between Local Voices Liberia, OKFM, Prime FM, Nickel Radio, to counter disinformation to help the public make informed decisions. This MOU is funded by the Liberia Media Empowerment Project, implemented by Internews with funding from the European Union. The funder or partner had no say in the editorial decision leading to the production of this Fact Check segment. We will be back with more Fact Check reports to help you know the facts. But if you want us to fact check a claim for you, please send us a text to WhatsApp on 0777 556296 and we will check for you. Also follow us on Facebook at Local Voices Liberia, on X at LVL Fact Check, and go to our website at www.localvoicesliberia.com. I'm Siawe Miapu. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Thanks so kindly as well for joining us. We are right here as we speak. Liberia's Vice President Jeremiah Kun is in Ethiopia. He earlier today delivered an address. He's representing President Mbokai there. He is not a packed vice president, you know. He's not like a packed race car, so he's active. He's on the field. He's moving. His bosses allow him to move. When your boss doesn't give you opportunity to move, you can move. You'll be sitting there. But so at the UN Full Security Summit, called the UN FSS Plus 4 Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So we will read what he had to say. I hope Nyanti can come in now So we talk about what the different things the finance minister spoke about on today. And this is what the vice president said on behalf of His Excellency Joseph Newman Boakai Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia and the people of Liberia. I extend warm greetings and profound appreciation to our gracious hosts, Ethiopia and Italy, for convening this very important appraiser summit. 4 years after the inaugural United Nations Food Systems Summit, we convene once more to assess, that is, to assess progress, recalibrate our strategies, and accelerate our collective journey towards sustainable, inclusive, and resilient food systems. For Liberia, these systems transcend mere agricultural processes. They are engines of peace, platforms for equity, and pillars of national resilience. Through our National Pathway for Food Systems Transformation, Liberia has prioritized 3 key areas: nutrition-sensitive agriculture to combat stunting and malnutrition affecting our most vulnerable populations, climate-smart agricultural practices developed in partnerships with local farmers and cooperatives, inclusive governance frameworks that meaningfully engage youth, women, and traditionally marginalized communities. However, the true measure of this summit lies not in statistics but in accountability. We must honestly ask ourselves, are our actions effectively addressing the hunger that breeds despair? Are our systems reaching the communities where policy has historically fallen short? Liberia recognizes that sustainable transformation requires robust regional cooperation. We reaffirm our unwavering commitment to the African Union's Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program (CAADP) and its strategic alignment with the Sustainable Development Goals. We also underscore the critical link between food security and peace building, and this is particularly relevant for conflict-affected states and fragile states. As we look toward the future, Liberia pledges continued support for the UN Food Systems Agenda. We want to remember the United Nations Food Systems Summit not just for its declarations, but for its role in mobilizing transformative actions for food security. Let us invest not only in agricultural yields, but also in sustainability, human dignity, resilience, and lasting transformation for future generations. May the spirit of unity and shared purpose guide our deliberations toward meaningful outcomes. So, key among what he said is this paragraph. Through our National Pathway for Food Systems Transformation, Liberia has prioritized 3 key areas. Prioritize, giving priority to. When you prioritize something, that is, you make it important. You bring it up as first among equals, something to address, to take. It is urgent, it is important. So, in the whole food systems transformation thing, the 3 key areas that the country prioritizes are nutrition sensitive agriculture to combat stunting and malnutrition affecting our most vulnerable populations. I would have thought, I don't know how many minutes they gave them for to speak for. They usually give them minutes, sometimes 3, 4, 5 minutes, whatever it is. It just says what is prioritized, but to what extent that prioritization has been delivered, it's not clear. Do we feel it that our agricultural system is driven towards nutrition sensitive agriculture? What does that mean? How? What are some numbers? What could we know is being done? Hopefully, we have always tried to bring in agricultural ministry. We've not succeeded. Maybe we can succeed now. Then climate smart agricultural practices developed in partnership with local farmers and cooperatives. These are things that we need to know. To what extent, what is it really, and what are the expected outcomes. Inclusive governance frameworks that meaningfully engage youth, women, and traditionally marginalized societies. How do you get involved in agriculture and all of that? To what extent has that happened in our country? It is important. We cannot outrightly say it is not happening, and we can say these things are happening, or the kind of priority being talked about is being given, until we can hear from those who are there and perhaps get some testimonials from a whole lot of other people. Well, I don't know. Nyanti is supposed to come in by now. Nyanti is joining us now. There's big news. I was on social media. There's big news. I was on social media. So let Nyanti tell us. Earlier today, the Finance and Development Planning Minister, Augustine Gafuan, had some things to say. But Nyanti, welcome. Yeah, yes. Or wait it first before I put you on, before you give the feedback. Okay, yeah, welcome.
So, good afternoon, Julius. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, so maybe the mag.
Yeah, it's
the
okay.
volume, yeah,
it's good.
Okay, yeah. So this morning I received a call from the communication team at the Ministry of Finance that there will be a press conference today at 1 o'clock, and basically on that press conference was to get starter report on the NCC Compact. December of last year, Liberia eligibility was approved at the time.
Yeah, we broke the news here.
Yeah,
and we tried to explain the details.
Very good. So there was this long pause with regards to the new administration at the time when Donald Trump had just assumed office, and most of the initiative of the U.S. government were all put on pause. And so on the basis, the Ministry of Finance decided to invite the media practitioner today to update us about this news. But then before then, there were a whole lot of celebration on social media. But let's just go quickly to what was the issue. Yeah, so the Minister of Finance started his conversation with regards to talking about the eligibility at the time when Liberia was approved in December 2024, and then also lavishing praises on all those that contributed to that success, including the previous government as a whole.
Oh, he did that.
Yeah, he did that. And then he further went on to say that he received an email. So this is a part of it, this is the part that he told media practitioner, was that he received this email from the Deputy Vice President for Compact Operation 1, Alicia Robertson Morgan, who sent him this email that the board of the NCC will be meeting early next week to decide on the reaffirmation of a Liberia victory at the time, as to whether is Liberia still eligible to get the compact. So the board officially have not made any pronouncement yet until they are expected to meet early next week to decide on that. And then that was the email that the Minister of Finance received. Okay. But then the Minister of Finance said he was hopeful for the fact that there are other folks on the board giving Liberia relationship, and very certain that Liberia will get this green light that yes, this compact has been approved. And then secondly, he also made it clear that there have not been the fixed amount announced, though that we saw on social media. There were other folks saying that 500 million, but there was no amount. So one of the things is that either if Liberia if the reaffirm Liberia bid for this compact, either that amount could either increase or decrease, but there is no face amount announced yet. So initially, when December 2024, when they announced Liberia victory at the time for the compact, the Ministry of Finance said they started doing the work, wherein they were recruiting people to head the office here in Liberia. So
yeah, because you are supposed to write something like a project proposal, also, and you need to say where you think that money can be applied. Meeting the U.S. criteria as well, and so it is those things that they'll be looking at the board meeting, and they'll look at your passing scores and different kinds of things to consider.
Yeah, so these were the stuff that they had in place at the time. And initially, when they announced the application for people to apply, it may interest you to know that there were over about 170 persons that applied, and in fact they were just only looking for 3 persons, and 170 persons applied, and but at the end of the day, all of these different requirements was put on pause, given that the U.S. have taken a key decision on that to pause all of these discussions that were already in place. So he said one of the things that reinforces that was the issue about when the president went to the U.S., and then they also accompanied the president, and behind scene discussion, they held meeting with the NCC, and these were the things that they were putting forth to the NCC official there in the U.S. And then he also talked about that they were able to hold discussion with USA as well, given that Liberia, the 2025 budget, most of the funding that was in that 2025 budget were basically on health, education, all the different sectors. So one of the key push that they made was if other different areas will be cancelled through the USAID, through USAID, but key among them should be the health and that of education. And then he also talked about that they held discussion with the IMF, looking at the resilient fund, other places that they too can get funding towards the development to help in the developmental drive of Liberia. So the news is Liberia has not yet been approved. It has not been approved yet until that meeting is held early next week, where the board now formally will come and announce their reaffirmation whether the country is eligible, approved to receive the compact as well. And in fact, there have been no face amount announced as to whether it is 500 million, it is 492 million also, but no decision has been made. So in the word of the finance minister, he is hopeful.
What do you think it does to the different social media postings from officials of government? Because they made it to appear like the announcement will be made today also.
So Julius, I'm not too sure whether people in the community or will not want to see either the country get a paved road or electricity. When all of these things come, it benefits almost everybody, and there will not be people asking whether you are a CDC partisan or a Unity partisan. Show your ID card before you apply on this road. But what it says is that it means that if something will come to the country, it means that it has to be fully finalized. The green light is given. There's documentation to that. In fact, NCC as a whole
usually announces
is an institution that has its own website. So when pronouncement of such is also made, like you saw when the compact report was released, you saw that on the website of NCC. They also have their Facebook page as well. So it means that people should make it, because like when I saw this news report either from the Minister of Information announcing that Liberia has been approved, and when the finance minister today come up, in fact, this email that we're talking about is this finance minister who received this email from the Deputy Vice President for Compact Operation 1, Alicia Robertson Morgan. So he announced it. In fact, he has, at the press conference, the finance minister held a copy of the email that was sent to him about the meeting on early next week. But especially when folks, especially of this government, come on social media and begin to run with the news and present a picture to the public that this has been fully approved. I'm not too sure somebody will be disappointed when this comes to Liberia, even if you didn't support this government. But it is something.
It is something big.
It is something big for the country, and people will get jobs. If they're doing the road, there are other people who will be recruited from the community to come and do some portion of that work, and it also help with the job creation strategy of this government, as well. But especially from this point that the finance minister has announced, it means that it is just something that almost everybody will just have to get on their knee praying that it happens as well.
Do you think it was a tactic? Because the way the social media goes, at one point the government will be under pressure from the opposition, especially after the 20s, different things coming out. The government was under pressure. A fiasco with Mikat and the Christoph thing, where the government was, the information ministry was apparently claiming some kind of glory, and people they highlighted those. So was it like a tactic to say, okay, let's just put good news and deflect attention from these things?
Yeah, so
sometimes it is a propaganda.
So
tactic.
just imagine yesterday there was this pronouncement made by the managing director of LPRC announcing about 10,000 metric ton of petroleum product will come in country, meaning as part of their own move to also supply petroleum product on the Liberian market. So when he made this pronouncement and said this will come on Monday, and then in the evening hour, where every one of us is also focusing on either the orator speech or different news item that came during the course of the day. But then I saw officials of government running good news. So in fact, I went to one of those who posted on the social media and asked, what exactly is this good news? So, and this person kept laughing, haha. So I myself said, okay, oh. So that's how I left it. And this morning when I read,
some of them started mentioning the MCC.
So the first thing that I did was to go on the website of the MCC as well to see whether this is indicated there. But then there was nothing as such until that when we received this call from the Minister of Finance that, look, you guys are invited to give status report on the MCC. So this is something that was made clear today by the Minister of Finance, and it is the prayer of the Minister of Finance. It is the prayer of almost everybody that maybe this work and it comes in the interest and a lot of things that the Finance Minister will always do is that whenever he takes to the microphone and talking about some of the achievements, some of the initiatives that is actually working, he always mentions some of his predecessors or people who were there who make this possible. And when this comes as well, this is not going to be a benefit for one person, but a benefit for almost everybody. And that's something that I've actually noticed about the Minister of Finance.
Yeah, I covered him when he was foreign minister. And then, of course, he allowed me to travel with him to the UN General Assembly. So I know him a little bit up close. Yes, he's a politician and all of that, but when it comes to professionalism, he's one of those you can count on. He's really that professional person. And sometimes a whole lot of people don't like it, that he's too professional. People think he should be a little bit more political and all of that. But when it comes to professionalism and the job that they do, he is that kind of person. So I am not surprised that he was able to give it as it is. But thanks so kindly, Nyanti.
Yeah, so certainly we hope that we all pray.
Do you know that do you know that people who work with the MCC office itself, when it starts operation, they are some of the highest earners in the country?
In fact, these are all Liberians.
Yeah.
These are all Liberians as well.
MCC can pay.
Yeah.
and if MCC is there, if someone have
in fact, the head of that office might even make more than a finance minister or a minister of government.
If MCC is here and I have the opportunity to work, I would tell you goodbye.
Maybe they will call some people to be either the media person for that office as well.
I would tell you goodbye.
Yeah. So thank you, Julius.
So that is that. That is that. So yeah. That's it. It is. sometimes a whole lot of people don't understand the work that we do to just provide the information as it is. And of course, we are not surprised that the finance minister will provide it as it is. Who knows? Next week the board could meet, and after their meeting, we could get a release that says, yeah, we're getting so amount. Give and take. If those decisions are made next year, before that kind of money will start coming in and all of that, but we pray for the best. We really want it to happen. It will help the country, even though aid doesn't develop countries as it should, but it can help, especially if this one is geared towards road, electricity, expansion, and all those kinds of things are very important for the people. It will help, so we want it to happen. It's just that it is important to allow the process to roll out as it should. You don't want decision makers getting the feedback that we Liberia as a country we acting a little immature in handling these kinds of issues and all of that. You really don't want those kinds of narratives. Yeah. So Liberia traffic management. Okay, the other good news. You all know I like to talk the good things. We've been getting these reports. The LPRC is not wasting time. It is moving this week. They've announced that they are expecting plenty of petroleum products. I'm saying plenty of because I'm not exact with the figures, but it is the gallons will be in their millions, and that is to offset any point in time when the products could go short. It is not like, according to what we know so far, like LPRC is coming to open gas stations and be selling gas. No, the importers sometimes they can run short, so there will always be petroleum products in the country just in case they run short, so that those things can be supplied. I know it is ruffling the feathers of a whole lot of the importers. Hopefully, I really want to try to hear from one of the importers to know exactly what the key issues are. But so far, so good. It looks good. Yeah. So the other thing is that you've been getting the news about an NTA bus going to Maryland. Yep. They are making that particular route constant now. But of course, from here to Maryland is not the 3,500. So today I got the understanding of what it was. So that bus was chartered. So when they were bringing it back, they did not want to come back empty. So it was a testing kind of mission. So that's how they did the 3,500 to bring the people from Maryland. But the actual cost on the NTA bus from here to Maryland, before you go there, say, oh, the people were saying it's 3,500. It's actually 4,500. But since it is one running between Monrovia and Harper, so Harper is 4,500. You stop in Wedgeram to is 3,500. So that is what it is. But it is a good thing, especially with the road conditions still looking good in the rainy season. We know August and September can sometimes become more challenging because the way the rain falls. It doesn't fall very heavy. It falls small and it settles and the damages roads more. So let's see how we can pass through that period. But as it stands, it looks okay. Today, drivers started to protest about exorbitant ticketing, alleged exorbitant ticketing from police people and traffic management people, threats, the downplaying. They were very angry. They think the guys have become more ruthless. They are not tempering justice with mercy, allegedly, and all of that. So especially those ones running out of town chose not to run. It's difficult for drivers to get to that level. Because the guys don't like to lose even a minute. You see that they're always running. They always want to get money. So if they can choose to lose a whole day to protest, then it is very serious. And this is still tied into the traffic management thing. And the guy was explaining, when they gave you the ticket, plenty of money ticket, they don't even send you to LRA, they send you to their office, you don't pay it to government, blah, blah, blah. The guy spoke, this government did not come to help us. They came to destroy us. Blah, blah, blah. We want the government to look into this, especially the police boss, and the traffic management people, but just forget it. Yeah, the driver said a whole lot of stuff about them. The Senate had made a decision to communicate with the executive that they should pause this whole traffic management thing. I've seen traffic management vehicles in the traffic, they still move around. They don't have license plates on them, the ones I've seen. I don't know if that's how it is, but no, the way back, police cars, police pickups, even the police RG car and all those top level people can have plates. Yeah, but I've not seen plates on traffic management stuff. I don't know why. That's how it's supposed to be, but they don't have plates. The Senate had communicated that they should pause whatever they're doing. Let Ministry of Transport continue. I know for a fact that it is a very divisive thing, this whole traffic management thing. Even within the government itself, a whole lot of people are not really happy with it. Senator Nathaniel Magu had explained clearly when he was Minister of State how this whole thing happened. That the president has signed a law, the both laws are read, that the president, then George Weah, allegedly signed the one that stated clearly that the group will not take Ministry of Transport function, only to realize that the document that was being paraded to start implementation was the one that took Ministry of Transport's functions. That's why President Weah said, no, that thing cannot happen. We cannot enforce this law. That's what McGill said. We don't have time to play all of what he said. One would think that they will go further, perhaps prosecute whoever, but perhaps the government, okay, we're not implementing whatever, because what is out there is a false thing. So if you cannot do what you're supposed to do and you want to take transport ministry function, then we can't allow you. So 2018, the law was passed. They did not do a jink thing until that government left power. And then the new government did not go to ask questions, say, Mr. Weah, what really did you sign? We've seen two laws. The new government chose to go with the one that takes away transport ministry function. So why is it they didn't choose to take the one that maintains transport ministry function? Why? Doesn't make sense, folks. There are two laws out there. We are saying, no, the other one you're parading with my hand, not inside, my phone not there. Then the new government say they want to say, hey, phone not inside. So we are implementing the law passed in 2018. Well, the people who passed it in 2018, hold on the law make us say, but we signed the other one while looking generally. Look, these things are so simple to handle, and you can understand exactly what is happening. So the government has to address this. No matter whose interest is being affected or will be affected, the government has to walk back. Give transport management what it's supposed to do. Let Ministry of Transport hold their functions and continue. There are plenty of things that they're supposed to do. They will still make money. Let them leave the driver license, think vehicle registration. I think as soon as those two things, all the other things, that the certain packet thing, the towing thing, the how they call it, vehicle testing stuff and blah blah blah, all those kind of funny other things, they will do it. You're who's supposed to have eating for which it's hurting you people. You still eat small thing. Don't eat too much. You see, in life when you won't eat too much until your elbow get greasy, then everybody can see and say, they may enjoy you. At least eat, let the grease, let the honey stop on your fingertip. Yeah, okay. But that whole country here now, that whole country, 5 million plus people. But you alone eat until the honey start coming to your elbow, it start falling down. Then you spoil the whole thing. So that thing now, we now open it on and we make it clear. How you do it? How it work? Yeah, you can't assure people so much because there's greed and blah blah blah. No, stop that. This is our whole country, and we help the president to succeed. We think he is well intentioned, so we will help him. I always tell people, I don't just talk, you critique or you do this, you do that, because I can understand people who sit in those positions. Everybody can make the president to think that they're in the president's interest. Oh yeah, everybody who goes to talk to the president, they will be obsequious. When you are obsequious, you overly obedient or overly obedient. They'll go to someone even sit on the floor, the way kneel, the way do all kinds of things to in front of the president. Some of them can't even tell president truth. They can't won't say anything that will make the president feel bad. No, they're not able. Some are not even able to look in the president eyeball to talk. They're not able. Why? Because they want to be obsequious. So they want to gain the confidence that, yeah, let the president, everything okay, Mr. President. Mr. President, the deal is a very good deal, Mr. President. You see, they put car for the police. Well, the car they brought others and others said, no, we want to do business with you. So the car they been parking. They put brand new car for the police. It will be good for the police. But the president, the deal is a very good deal. The people like bring people back, they just let change. Yeah, they finish talking that thing. The other person come to, Mr. President. So the president, what? How the whole thing will be again? Now the thing that can happen, my people, we bear around, we've been seeing plenty of other things. Yeah? So, yeah, we will not rest. You all will have to do the right thing. Anybody who's selfish greed, who's venal, who's corrupt, or corrupted ego and appetite will be affected. It should be affected. And let the country be the one to benefit. You do not have an option. You have to accept that it is what it is going to be. Yeah? Okay. Finally, something happened. And as I said, it's a very, it's a touchy. Yeah? T-E-T-C-H-Y, T-O-U-C-H-Y. It's a touchy. Those kinds of topics are... They have a whole lot of gray areas, and you teeter along the lines of almost running the risk of saying something terrible that could ignite stuff. So yeah, we can understand people fleeing these kinds of conversations, but we should have them. There was a situation between some police people, or a police officer, and a lady allegedly involved in power theft of the Muslim faith, who was girded, G-R-D-E-D, who was girded in a form of Muslim regalia, whether it is traditional or religious, I cannot ultimately say, but the hijab is actually linked with a form of Islamic dress code, and it sparked a whole lot of different conversations. And for the first time, we want to have a say. The enforcement of law and order is the preserve of the security forces, in this case, the police, and they are given the right to effect that any point in time, anywhere, as provided for by law. Citizens have to know that. Often, it is an overlooked thing, either because we're used to police people, or sometimes police people are not very respectful of themselves. Sometimes police people themselves may not take that seriously, so we get mixed up in the fact that a whole lot of communities, police will go to do their job to arrest, and people jump up between. Why the police there to do their work? People want to settle it another way, and I mean all kinds of things, disrespect, insults. People just say all kinds of things to police officers and all of that. No. It is not right today, tomorrow, yesterday, day before yesterday, at any point in time. So the first thing I want you all to know listening to me is that you are being arrested by police does not necessarily mean that you're wrong. It is the fact that there is suspicion. There is a greater suspicion that you may have done something or not. And the way to handle that is, if it is for you to be arrested, to be taken to where you're supposed to be taken, you should give in. You should not resist. Because usually, depending on the force you use to resist, the police will be backed by law if certain actions are taken against you. That's why you see in the Western world, especially the US and other places, sometimes the police will shoot people. When they tell you put your hands down, you still have your hands down. They may think that you have gun, and they may shoot you and all those kinds of stuff, and blah, blah, blah. So we have to understand that. Also, in carrying out their duties, the police people are trained to behave in a certain way. They are trained to be humans. They are trained to use persuasion rather than confrontation, unless the environment is hostile. So it is another important aspect. We saw videos. We may not know the entirety of the thing. We saw 1 or 2 videos of what transpired. What is believed to be alleged resistance on the part of the lady, the use of force on the part of the police. Perhaps tomorrow also we may speak with our security men to talk about that side. I will not go too deep into the police, whether that's the right way they did what they were supposed to do. I am talking about the other conversations, the different conversations that came from there. Which for me, I think are even more dangerous to the existence of the country, or address certain key things beyond just the thing of power theft. So the general impression you get from there is everybody thinks that the lady did power theft. Eh? But at that point, she was not found guilty of power theft. She was being arrested on the allegations of being involved in power theft. So there is a line of conversation that she involved in power theft, go arrest her, then she resisting. No. At that point, you cannot say she was involved. She is alleged to have been involved. And so by being arrested and taken to court, we have proven whether that house was involved in the power theft or not. Because there are instances when people were suspected of being involved in power theft, and investigation showed later on that they were not doing power theft. Good. I believe, given what we saw without knowing the full details, there may be mistakes on both sides. Then there was this line of conversation about the dishonoring an Islamic dress code. Quite a gray area, right? How does a police officer operate in an environment of religiosity? I believe police officers are trained to handling all those kinds of situations because the police does not exist in a vacuum. It exists in a society. And they know exactly what can flare tempers, what can inflame tempers and all of that. And they know that religion, tribes, there are some of those things. So things that are said around that are religiously sensitive and how they go about doing their duties, they are usually trained how to handle those kinds of situations so that it doesn't appear like they are targeting a particular religious group. It was not okay that that discussion spiraled out from that point to a whole lot of other people. For example, it was almost on social media, especially, it was almost becoming like a Christian Muslim thing. So you will notice two things. And as someone who analyzes, I take a deep look at the trends on social media. So a whole lot of the people, a whole lot, not all, but a whole lot of the people who said the lady was wrong, police should have done this, and blah, 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 were either Christians or supporters of the government. Most, I didn't say all. A whole lot of those who were on the side of the lady were either Muslims or opposition people. Yes, a few other Muslims came out in a very balanced way and all of that. So they were either Muslims or opposition people. Follow my conversation. If you were to replay this scenario a few years back, just rewind to a few years back, those who were in support of the police, now, as we speak in this situation, the political side, that is supporters of the government, if you replay this, you rewind to a few years ago when they were in opposition, they will be on the side, a whole lot of them will be on the side of the lady. And the opposition people now, a whole lot of them that are now on the side of the lady, if you go backward, they will be on the side of the police. Because we've all been in this town. Current officials, current supporters, paraded with videos on social media of police people being humiliated years back. Made fun of it because then the police was George Weah police. Now the police is Joseph Boakai police. So the people who were supporters of the government yesterday, now anything that happens with police and anybody, the first person they found to be wrong are the police. Because now to them, the police are Joseph Boakai police. Similarly, where does that leave us? It means we're not honest, we're not sincere with the conversation and helping to make all of us understand that the police has a function that remains the same no matter who sits in the executive mansion. That no matter who sits there, the police deserves respect. When police goes to arrest you, you should give in. Avoid confrontation. Community people should not come around be causing police people or be fighting and trying to resist. If police use force, they could be right, depending on what kind of force is used. Avoid confrontation. Move with them. That you're being arrested doesn't mean you're guilty. All of those kinds of things should remain no matter who is president, whether your political party is in power or not. Because when we ridicule the police because we're not in power, when we find them wrong in everything, even if they were doing their actual responsibility, when we do all of those things, we are making the population to get used to the fact that anything police wants, the police and somebody in some kind of confrontation, the police always, we're making the population to get used to disrespecting the police. When you come to power now, the population is used to disrespecting the police. Now you want the police to be respected. It will not happen overnight. You've made the population to get used to that kind of narrative. And these conversations have to be held. don't understand how it almost became a Christian, Muslim thing. I saw a whole lot of Christian people get involved. Like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. So I said when we're worshiping, or when we do this, or when we want to steal current to, then we wear this and that, and blah, blah, blah. No, it was a law enforcement thing that should have stayed that way. Why did you get involved? It was not a Muslim and Christian thing. No, it wasn't. Now, another big narrative is, who is a Liberian? Who? Because that also came out very prominently. So then I go back to their country, Guinea, and see what I can try with police officer in Guinea. And usually, two tribes, Mandingo and Fula, it's very, very easy to send them back to Guinea. Well, that the countries share tribes doesn't mean everybody of a particular tribe is from the other country. Because there are a whole lot of citizens of the Mandingo and Fula tribes that are Liberians. So, for example, Grebo. There are Grebos in Ivory Coast, there are Grebos in... The only difference is our Grebos, even though it's the same Grebo, but you may not be able to understand, for example, if someone said a full sentence in the kind of Grebo from the Ivorian side. You will literally have to learn it. You may understand few words. I don't know if that's how it is with the Mandingo and the Fula. I don't know. But the point is it also true that there are Mandingos that will come from Guinea, or Fulas that will come from Guinea? Yeah. But there's a whole tribe called Mandingo in Liberia. So it becomes wrong to generalize when something happens and just say the Mandingo person is from Guinea because Guinea get Mandingo. It is wrong. The question I was still asked is, who is a Liberian? How do you know? Now, another thing that has to be said is, you are a Liberian, you are a Mandingo, you are a Fula, you are a Liberian. It is not also okay for you to easily want to link issues to Guinea when something is said, like defense of Guinea. Because it makes it to appear like that's where you are from. But you cannot be a Liberian and not defend Liberia first. Like when Mark Jabata, the boy in Guinea, I know he said boy in Guinea, I know 3 times a day. Seriously, that the gentleman is still in government from all the things that he said and done. Well, it is up to the president to decide that. Even though he came back to apologize. But it is not something that you want to do. You have to defend your country first. That narrative came out and it was something. I was like, oh. As if once you bear the Mandingo name, then you're not Liberian, then you're from Guinea. But that's not the case. These conversations have to be held, perhaps there are forums. I feel there are those lines still in the society that are gray, that are blurred, that we do not have good understanding of, and they could flare up into something if the conversations are not held as they should be held. There was a narrative about decency of the Muslim woman and indecency of the Christian woman, peddled by some people from the Muslim religion. That also should not have been. But these narratives are there. becomes a question of what do we need to defend. And finally, there was a sporadic, spontaneous protest that just sprung up. And the ladies were protesting the way their sister was treated. Were they right? In a democracy, yeah, they were. You know, those kinds of protests, those surprise protests, they are very effective. They are dangerous because they catch the security people unawares. There's no planning, there's no intelligence to know who is planning to do what and blah 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 and put hot water trucks so or put this and that so and blah blah blah. It just happens and it is risky. Issues around tribes and religion people can be more fired up, especially in Liberia and other places, than even the political party thing. Okay, a party just came from power, people critique it for a whole lot of things. A whole lot of people may not be too inclined to come out to protest in favor of those kinds of parties and blah blah blah. But on religious issues, they're seeing a video of one of their sisters being allegedly dishonored in their religious garment that is so much hold dear to their hearts. They will want to die. So I think the approach by the police IG was, I've analyzed it, I've looked at it, I've listened. Yeah, people say he may have been kowtowing to the people and blah blah blah. But I believe, given what it was the best approach. As much as I can be critical of him, this one was Solomonic wisdom applied. You know, in the Bible, Solomon, they one child died, the other one said that a child, other boy said that they are child, and when we were living, so the one that are living, everybody claiming the one that living, and nobody wanted to claim the one that is dead. So Solomon say, let kill the baby, let's share the baby in two, between both of you. The person said, yes, that do it. The person said, no, let her just take it. Solomon said, no, I your child. So it was Solomonic wisdom to say what he said to diffuse tension and then investigate. Hopefully we can know where the investigation heads. If the matter needs to go to court, it should go to court. Let's know what the truth is. And if the law needs to be enforced where it should, yeah, it should be enforced. What I want us to take out of this as we go to the lines is the police have a job to do. And that job is irrespective. It should be supported irrespective of who sits in the mansion. You, the citizen listening to me today, go tell your children and yourself and your community people, stop interfering with police functions. Stop resisting police functions. Police temper justice with mercy. Learn better approaches when you go into these communities. The narratives about who is a Liberian, the religious issues and all those kinds of things, we have to keep them in perspectives and honestly have some conversations with ourselves. 777-700-995, 555-995, the numbers to call. And you will be through to the OK conversation. We expect our guests to start arriving on our compound right now because sharp 4:30, we want to begin this conversation. This is the OK conversation on OKFM 99.5. We are right here. Welcome. Let's hear you. Hello. Okay. You're not there. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, go ahead. No, Julius.
Hello, Georgia.
Yes, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Thank you. The name is Robert Political Slaughter Ibrahimovic. And I call you this afternoon from the Congress sitting in Congata. Yeah, you know, I don't let us dive into relational politics and religious debate. But I think the law does not look at the religion. The law does not look at we gather you wear. While a shootout, the law doesn't look at this thing. I think the action of the police was very harsh. The action of the police, if it is facing justice, you should look that woman, forget about her religion, forget about whether she's a Muslim or she is a female. I think she was humiliated. She said humiliated. So most of the people do not incline with our law, how police behave. So you as a police officer, when you come to arrest someone and you see the person become too harsh and things, sometimes you reduce your anger and other things. So again, because what passed over our country, it was going to be a very serious thing. You said with later grouping coming up with other things. I condemn those who are castigating the Muslim people and other things, making kind of statement. That statement is not good for our country.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Let's take other people. Welcome. Let's hear you quickly.
Julius, how are you?
I'm fine. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Musa Konen, and I call you from Dua Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will want to speak on one of the many topics, and this is not one of the best that I'm going to say, but I will say it because I'm Musa Konen. I also have problem in the Mandingo, we call it so, that or so. I'm going home. And I found out that, and that means if I'm going home, I found out any Mandingo man who would say that or so, Mobot or so, Memulata so, meaning I send my people home, are going home. On the other hand, you are claiming, I would say claim, you are claiming citizenship from Liberia. And I'm saying it to support your statement or the point you strike. Mm-hmm. If you are a Mandingo and you find yourself to be a Liberian like Musa Kone is, where I call so, which is whom, is if it's not Liberia, if I'm in Morovia, I say that also, I'm going Kitman.
Mm-hmm.
Kitman is where I know to be my home. I didn't buy myself to be born in Kitman. I was born in Kitman. I did almost everything of my life in Kitman. So I am from Kitman. But when you are a Mandingo man, you are referring to Guinea as your home in our local dialect, then you want to claim Liberian citizenship. For me, I think you are not a Liberian. You should be a Liberian and claim me that there are a lot of other towns and villages in Liberia that you can claim to be your home based on where you were born.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we Mandingo have to desist from that because we are Liberian as we claim to be. I will use claim intentionally as we claim to be, and if we are claiming that, we cannot have Liberia as our home and claim that we are Guinean again and call Guinea our home. We are Liberian, and when you are speaking, you speak as a Liberian. As Julius, I'm taking most of your time. Sorry for that. I can remember in 2004, I and the son of Juru, the late Juru son, Friday Juru, maybe he's somewhere around listening. We were watching football game, and then we were obviously refugees in Guinea. We were watching football game in the video club, and Alan Shearer was just about to be transferred from Leeds United to Manchester. In fact, they have already concluded the deal. So we were cheering Leeds United against Liverpool. I know the Guineans at the time had strong feeling for Liverpool because of the Titi Camara.
Mm-hmm.
And then this Guinean guy said, why are we, the army men, why are we supporting, Leeds United when he is supporting Liverpool? We should get outside. I said, no, we can't get outside. No matter sure, he said, we were Liberian, and then we go in Guinea, we want to disrespect Guinea. The next one happened was winning African Cup of Nations, Tunisia, 2004. When they scored against Guinea, the whole of Guinea was quiet. But I was not supporting Guinea. We were supporting Tunisia. The guys got angry. Why were we supporting Guinea? We say supporting Tunisia against Guinea. So I'm just trying to say to the level where some of us have defended and shown our clear identity as Liberian. I'm a Mandingo, but I'm not a Guinean. I'm a Liberian. And where I claim as my home is in Kedma Makatan. So we should claim Liberia as our home if we are truly Liberian. Our investment and everything should be here, and we take the allegiance and we should defend Liberia and not Guinea. So I just wanted to stress that point.
Thanks.
It's a very good point that you made.
Thanks so kindly, Musa, for your call. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Thank you, David Koti, my name. And let me say for the first time in 5 years, I agree with Musa Kone. You know, there are 16 tribes in Liberia, and Mandingos are part of us. I mean, definitely, you can't change that. But what happened here during the war is exactly what Musa Kone is talking about now. I heard people saying, in fact, we're going home. They were on trucks, on pickups, on everything, going to Guinea. So they're going home. People that I knew very well to be Liberians for many years. But during the war, we saw them on trucks saying they're going back home. You can't serve two masters. You either be a Liberian or a Guinean. You can't play trick on this thing here. But what I do know is that there are 16 tribes in Liberia, and Mandingos are part of us. But you can't put one foot in the devil's land, put one foot on the other side, and try to claim the two sides. I saw that many times during the war. Mr. Connor, I agree with you today. You're right.
Okay. Thanks so kindly, sir. Thanks so kindly. Let's take more calls. Let's see who's on this end. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Go
ahead.
This is Alvin Bafari, and I call to Julius. It's sad to hear surrogates from the government. I continue blaming George Weah for signing the Liberia Traffic Management Agreement. I want to know what is forced for them to implement it or what. Because during the days of President Weah, when he signed, according to them, when he signed the traffic management, because he knew that he was not in the interest of Liberian people, so he now implemented it. So the government is forced to implement it. I really want to know.
Okay, thanks so kindly. We are anticipating our guests. I'm told one is here. The other two, quickly, I'm sure they will soon be here. This one is a kudos to the Finance Minister for recognizing the progressive steps taken by the previous administration that is helping to make Liberia's way easier as we push to benefit from the MCC. Find the good and praise it. As for the protest by the drivers today, I humbly urge our legislators to amend the vehicle and traffic laws so as to avoid drivers paying more than they should for traffic offences. Ernest Bailey is the one who wrote in that message. Julius, these traffic management people must be arrested for even printing police on their vehicle without the approval. How you know it's not with the approval of the LMP? Let's take Maswa Grace Bay right here. Maswa, welcome.
Good evening, Julius.
Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to contribute quickly on this traffic management thing. Generally, my opinion is that I do not support the content of that law. But there's one thing all of us must understand in this country. If people will invest in Liberia, we must be credible. When you issue a concession agreement as a government, you must be responsible enough to respect the agreement. The only reason why I think that agreement cannot be enforced at the moment, and the government should take judicial steps to investigate, is the testimony coming from a former minister of state. I think that can be the only escape route for the government. Had it not been that we had information from such prominent person who held key role to show that there was some fraud, which when established can vitiate that concession, we will have had no obligation but to implement the concession. Our government cannot be seen as irresponsible, passing concession they do not intend to, to enforce.
Even in the issue of the passage, would you, for example, as a lawmaker, would you that other one that takes away the Ministry of Transport's functions and places data in the hands of foreigners and all of that, will you, as a legislator, sign up onto that?
No, I will not do it personally. But what happens when you elect people who get elected on the basis of their popularity, the vocation, the into spreading money in the community, they have to get returns on their investment. So a concession boosting the Ministry of Transport of its statutory mandate is equally a law. And under the recency doctrine of the law, a new concession, as in the case of LTM, compared to the Transport Ministry Act, that concession has more power. So if we cannot prove that there is fraud, then we have to enforce that concession. We got to be responsible. You at some point in time, there were allegations of the Liberal government operating as a criminal enterprise. Do we want to continue on that footpath? We either amend the concession or expeditiously investigate the testimony from Minister McGill that the concession or the language of the final concession being, enforced is an element of fraud. That will bring the credibility of our government. It will restore the credibility of the government in the event we do not intend to enforce this concession.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so kindly. Let's take a few more calls. I hope Jacob Jala. I am told that Anderson is here. We are waiting Mo Ali and Jacob Jala. Welcome. Let's hear you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Julius.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Dowladne, and I call from Bartonsville, Maryland Center.
Go ahead.
I'm a bit confused. If this government came, to power in the name of rescuing us, even if Josh we assigned this contract, taking away the powers of the transport ministry, why are they? I mean, Julius, let's look at it. So I am depending on the honorable man in the house there to put a halt to their operations. Thank you so much, my dear brother.
Okay. Thanks so kindly. Let's take a few more calls. I guess.
Thank you so much, my dear brother.
Okay. Let's see. This person says, clergyman was beaten by police officer. DA officer died from angry crowd. Nobody protested. Why should Muslim women protest? Some of you, it is that right now. They fight other people in protest. It means that other people should not protest. This person say, after LPRC imports gas, can we also have Ministry of Commerce and Industry to import rice? Society functions well when the market does what it does best and government does what government is expected to do. The LPRC decision is bad policy. This is a very prominent higher up person. I'm not sure the women will call their name. But different arguments are coming in. Suspended Gwaza Julius, you are going nowhere. We'll fix this country together. Look at I beg you. I thought I guess when I joined with plenty of he was here. I was be sitting here. Let's see, I'll tell you goodbye. Welcome. Let's hear you. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello? Hello? The way to get you here is hard. Then you get you to do you can't answer. Okay. I don't know why this one is not connecting. Something doesn't seem to be right. Is the network compromised here? Oh. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Julia.
Yes? Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Yes, go ahead. Let's hear you.
I'm in Monrovia, Julia.
Hello? 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 I don't know what's happening with his line there. Let's see who's on this end. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Good afternoon, Julius.
Go ahead, Frank Gibson. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I just want to respond to the councillor who just dropped the line. The councillor is stressing that the concession was signed and this government is a responsible government, so they should abide by it.
No. That's not what he said. No. He is saying if he is saying that the only escape route for the government is the fact that there is a testimony from the former Minister of State that there is fraud in this process. But if not, if it was just one law signed by the previous government, there was going to be under obligation.
There's several things, and this government cancelled some of those things because they said they were not in the interest.
Hello? Oh, you went off, Jared. You went off just like that to good afternoon, Judas. The concession also did not repeal or amend any section of the Transport Ministry Act. Which portion was amended or restated? Where is the okay, this person is saying once it does not I don't know, let's take Frank Gibson back directly.
Yeah, you know the line went up.
Yes, go ahead.
For example, the $9 million contract agreement that was signed at the LPRC, the government canceled that and revised it because they say it was not in the interest of the LPRC.
I'm not understanding why you disagreeing with me. Is that both of you saying the same thing?
Grace told you that this government is a responsible government and they want to run.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't say the government is responsible. He said any responsible government is expected to implement.
That's what he's trying to say.
No, but that you putting words in the memo, not the mental.
No, I'm not putting words. I'm quoting directly what he's saying.
No, you're not quoting directly.
Very unfortunate.
Okay.
This government has kept a lot of things that the previous government they want to revive at this.
Okay.
Or because a migrant spokesman they want to turn around. It's just unfortunate.
Thanks.
They shouldn't do that, man. He's very high respect him. You're supposed to respect him.
Okay. Thanks so kindly for your call. Let's take one more. We are anticipating Jacob Jala. Jacob, you have to be here. Okay. Okay, Jacob is here. This will be the final one. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yes, my point is that.
What is your name first of all? What's your name? What is your name first of all?
Yeah, I'm Julius from Julius.
Okay.
Yeah, my point I got to mean is that everybody came on bill. They came based on the rescue mission. Instead of bringing rescue, if they come and follow with document and the Joey Allen government signed that was not the issues of it as well. Why can't they cancel that document and see how best they can put it into place that will benefit the Lazaro Egypt? The traffic management is the government ourselves that we have government. Then why take it and revisit the agreement of that document and see how best they can put it to be the issues of the Lazaro.
Okay. Okay, thanks so kindly. Well, in this case now, it is disputed. We as officers know that thing you're enforcing is not what we signed. The one we signed, the board went and change it. So this gives this government a good ground to say, my man, there is a problem here. So, but thanks so kindly, folks. Let's take a quick, just a very brief break with one of our sponsors. Our guests are all here, 3 of them. They are well seated. So let's take a quick break with our folks right here.
Your favorite RLJ Kendeja Resort and Villas is new and improved with top-notch first-class services guaranteed to make you feel pampered and special as our royal guests. Ideally located on the RI Highway, a few minutes drive from the rehab junction, right in front of the Atlantic Ocean, you are assured of a peaceful, serene atmosphere of a home away from home. The ingredients for our Liberian meals are freshly picked from our garden to give you that unforgettable taste of Liberian cuisine. Our villas are designed and equipped to ensure every night spent with us is a memorable one. We are well positioned to host conferences and seminars of all sizes, as well as outdoor events like garden weddings and parties. Book your upcoming events and leave the rest for us to handle with 100% satisfaction guarantee. You can reach us on 0770-533-415 or email us at reservations@kendejaresort.com.lr. Visit our website on www.rljkendejaresort.com.lr. RLJ Kendeja Resort and Villas, for memories worth repeating.
Welcome back. This is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5. We want to appreciate our guests. All of them have very busy schedules, but they had to let them go. I know we took Anderson out of his 2 classes, 2 complete classes he had to let go. We had to take more from his office or running all behind water. We had to take Jacob from his research field, and his life is a celebration. Yeah, always. Yeah. Mo, welcome.
Thank you, Julius.
How is the LWSC?
Well, we are doing pretty good. We can't keep complaining of the challenges because they will persist. So right now we are doing massive sewer disconnection, and we will start with the water disconnection as well. On the good side, we have started through the contractor with funding from the World Bank, connecting 2,500 homes that have never had water supply. And then we completed contractual agreements with 2 companies to begin the construction.
Okay, no, that was just introduction to say things are okay. Yeah. So thank you. It's okay.
Please come in next time.
Yeah. Next time we
when you ask us, then we'll start talking about all the things that start doing. Jacob will tell you how you're looking for the lost ball.
Anderson, welcome to the. It has been a little while since we last had in a panel. In fact, this is the first time for Mo in a panel since the election on this show. Similarly with you, it's been a little while. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you for the invite.
Okay, Jacob, as well. It's been a little while since we were last year in a panel, but welcome.
Yeah, yes, thank you very much. I'm born again. I'm here as a sedition now. Different.
A new comfort.
Yeah, new comfort. Yeah, sure. I'm happy to be here. And I look forward to these discussions, and yeah.
But it was one of the most surprising moves.
Yeah.
Because you are mostly close to those in power.
Yes.
And you even worked in the previous UP administration.
Yeah.
So one would think that you lean more towards them. They are your friends. You know them that well. And then we saw you on the side of the CDC, especially that goes into opposition. You know, opposition is usually very dry.
Yeah. No, that's true. That was that was a little bit of political acrobatics. Like someone started here and there. But no, you're right. I mean, and it kind of like went against the tide. Many people thought that, wow, this was a very strange decision. But this was a decision I took for a great deal of reason. I'm sure we're here for something. We'll probably have the time in the future to go into it and I can answer questions. But generally, broadly speaking, I thought that, well, the CDC offer a great opportunity. Now, for me, I'm not tunnel vision. I'm not a narrow-minded person. I'm a broader vision guy. I'm looking at the great potential that the CDC has, not necessarily for now, but on the long haul. And this is a mass-based movement of the people, and I think I can go there and support the development and the transformation of the party. The party is heading in a particular direction, and I think I can contribute to that direction of travel. Yes.
Okay, great. Now let's come to the reason. I think we should apply timing. Is that okay with everybody? Yeah, more so to the introductories and all of that. We'll give each person 3 minutes to give us a general overview of the independence celebration, just a general overview of everything before we come to the particulars. So we will start with Mo again. Let me go to the stopwatch. We want to do 3 minutes each. Where am I? Yeah, I can't find my clock. My clock disappeared. Okay, I think we have it. Yeah, okay, good. So, Mo, your 3 minutes will start now.
All right, Julius. Thanks, and this is really the very first time I am in studio with Anderson, and this is the first time probably sitting in studio with Jacob on opposing end, where we may not be on opposing end on this particular topic. But I thought generally the 26th celebration this year was mammoth. It is something that I haven't observed personally since our conflict ended, for such a celebration enthusiasm across the country, not only across the country but across the globe. And when I say across the globe, I mean everywhere. You had Liberians and even people who are non-Liberians. Some of us are social media freak. We are on almost every platform. And I was watching on TikTok Indians eating Indian food and sending us well wishes on our 178th independence anniversary. That was strange for me. And then you go across to Europe, where there are Liberians, there were celebrations. And I think some of the biggest celebrations and living memories in the diaspora took place across the United States, to the extent that there was this competition about which state or which city did the biggest and best celebration. I watched Liberians converge on Atlantic City in I hope I got it in New Jersey. I watched Liberian converged in many parts, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Minnesota, and everywhere. And I believe that this celebration, this kind of huge celebration, must have stemmed from something, and I hope we will come back to discuss maybe the reasons behind the happiness. In Liberia, almost every county had a very huge celebration. We saw videos coming from almost everywhere. Senator Snow posted a video from Bomi. We saw videos from Maryland. We saw videos from Lofa County. And everywhere, Liberians went on to celebrate their country, which tells me that there is something now to celebrate for, that there is hope in the future of the country.
Thanks so kindly. We go over to Anderson, a general overview of the whole 26th celebration, 178 years.
Thank you, Julius. Once again, it's a pleasure being here. The 26th celebration, we saw Liberians all over the world, obviously, celebrating. But what I want to say is that I have not, at least for the time I've been alive, I haven't seen a July 26th that hasn't been celebrated. So there could be a thing or two that could be a little bit different from what we saw this time around with the gatherings we saw overseas, for example. But locally, we've always celebrated July 26th. And in the mix of everything, there have always been people who have not really had anything much to celebrate.
Do you think the Christoph's event added a different layer to it?
Perhaps, but we've also had some, musical festivals and all of that. But it has been widely indicated that Christoph had the biggest, I think, event ever had or so thereabout by a Liberian artist. But that's something else to talk about another day. But the point I'm making here is that we've always celebrated July 26th. I can agree with Mo Ali to understand that some of the celebrations we saw in the US and other places were a little bit more than what we've seen over time. But the point to make is that Liberians have always had things to celebrate about, to be happy about. A thing or two could be different, but there still are people that I saw that weren't very happy based on the conditions they find themselves, the conditions they find themselves, the economic condition basically. And the point is that as we identified some of these positives, which could be attributed to different things that we can talk about subsequently, we should be also mindful of the fact that there are major challenges that we still need to deal with. So I don't support the point wholeheartedly that this is the first ever time that we're celebrating July 26th the way we did, though. I don't support that entirely. There could be a thing or two, like I said, but the point is Liberians came together. They were happy about their country, largely about the things that have been happening, some of which didn't really start under this administration. We have been progressing over time since we came out of the war, but there are different administrations and different things that have been happening that we can talk about. Hopefully, we can have some time to talk about.
Okay,
but,
good. The time is out. Thanks. So kindly we go over to Jacob, a general overview of the 26 itself. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about the activities around the 26. Yes, I think, I saw via internet a great deal of celebratory atmosphere, like in the U.S., Minnesota. That was a huge one, and that was exciting. I saw the video, and I was like, wow, this is huge. Of course, we saw footages, in other countries, maybe Belgium and other places. Yeah, in Liberia, that was not strange at all. 26 has always been part of our period movement of joy and happiness. Maybe during the period of war, when rockets were falling, and if they probably fell around 26, then of course people have security concerns in mind rather than going into celebration. Other than that, I think it's not been a huge deviation from what we've seen in the past in terms of celebrating July 26th. And also the point is also that, politicians will try to find reasons and try to tie, activities around the July 26th to parties and all of that. I don't think so. I think July 26th is always an opportunity for people, to get a meal, celebrate with families. It's more about, family appreciating, their life or the period, and also being able to form part of a country that is called Liberia, a space that is called Liberia, and people can celebrate that. Now, when it comes to people's opinion about our country, probably we'll go into that in the speech as we try to unpack and unravel some of the issues that were raised. That's another question. But again, I think it was a moment of celebration for most people. Others didn't have much. The country is tough. We will come to that. But I think, largely speaking, it was a great moment of celebration.
Okay, one quick question that we just need a minute from each of you. Let me start this with Anderson. Do we need to know the cost, the national cost of the celebration? What did the government put in to the celebration? Is it important for us to know? And how soon do you think we should know that? If you think we should know it.
Yes. We need to know, and that information should be available like yesterday. If I think that's something that I left out of my initial comments. If the celebrations that took place across the world, the government didn't put any money into them, people organized themselves and celebrated the way they did, that's welcoming. But obviously, we need a full account of whatever resources that government put into the celebration, especially so locally.
Okay, Mo, what do you have to say to that? You are in the corridors of power. Do you know if that information will come out anytime soon?
Because it should not be a matter of if. We always ask for the information to come out. I mean, it's not our personal money. It's the Liberian people money. And so whatever we use, whatever amount we use for organizing celebrations, I believe it should be made public. It's not for anybody personal consumption. I do not also know, and I don't have any information if the government spend money on outside celebration. It's possible the government may have made some remittances to embassies who organize indoor celebration. Is possible, but I don't know. I can speak to that for certainty.
Okay, Jacob, it's always been a huge point when the figures come out. $500,000, $1 million to celebrate, and it's always been quite an issue. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, it has to be part of the process of governance. Accounting for the use of public resources. So I mean, once the numbers come up, I'm sure the pundits will jump on it and try to make sense of it. The accountability people will be there to shine bright light, on those figures. So I think it's normal. I mean, I don't want to go into huge speculation here about what is going to, what's not going to happen. I think we'll wait to see the figures.
Okay, now the next question will begin with you, Jacob, and we'll go straight to the speeches, but especially that of the orator. you've listened, I guess you've read through as well. I want to give each of you 2 minutes to give me your highlights before I come to particular points within the speech. So let us start with you. 2 minutes, a general highlights of the orator's speech.
Yeah, so again, broadly speaking, he touched many areas, nearly about every area, in a country. But again, the part of it that jumped out, of the text to me particularly has to do with the area where he was speaking about employment, job, economic well-being. For me, I have a huge bias towards that direction because I think that is the crux of the matter. That's the center of everything that we have to deal with here. What is the living standard of the Liberian people? What is the lay of the land, economically speaking, in terms of, how are people doing? How are Liberians doing? It matters to me a lot because I know the saying always go that the acid test of every democracy is its ability to fill empty stomach. So for me, I focus on that and I appreciate the orator for bringing that up, raising the question of unemployment, particularly youth unemployment. Of course, when we talk about unemployment and jobs for many people, that is a great deal connected to the investment that we're able to make in economic infrastructure, roads, electricity, ports, seaport, airports, agriculture expansion and all of that.
Thanks so kindly. Thanks. Yeah, hold it there. Because of the time, sorry. I will come back on that question. We come to Anderson. We can almost guess where his highlight is going to come from, but
certainly, I think the orator spoke very well for the most part. There might be a few places here and there that I disagree slightly with some of the things he said or the insinuations, but generally he spoke well. He spoke to the whole issue of governance, for example. Jacob has talked about job creation and all of that, even though job creation, is an element of governance. But talking about where we are dealing with corruption, dealing with the accountability issues, trusting government, leading by example and all of that, and admonishing the president and the government, especially so the president, to act, to move away from suspension and begin to dismiss and all of that. I feel he was spot on with that. And he also said, some very interesting things, for example, about the potential of Liberia, the youthful population, and how we should take this, as an opportunity that we can leverage to foster development. We shouldn't see the youthful population as a burden. We should see it the other way around, economic dividends, for example, as the expert would say. So in my mind, he spoke very well, especially so that he was very candid. I haven't really heard about him prior to this, period. Yes, I've heard about Don, but not him. But I feel he did justice, to the occasion in terms of laying out very clearly where we are, the challenges, some of the progress that this government has made, and the challenges that lie ahead, that we need to address to ensure that we get to where we want to go.
This is the second orator in your administration's term. What's your general overview of what he had to say?
Thank you, Julius. I am happy that the two pundits here have given us the pat on the back for bringing an orator who has spoken very well. A good oration, when people, the society, can take points from the oration and argue, everybody can take their part and say, they want to satisfy me, they want to satisfy me. So he orated so well that the key opposition figures can say, yeah, this part satisfied, or they took their part. Government supporters, we can say, this part satisfied, we took our part. Civil society can say, okay, he spoke well on this part. That is an element, a key element of a good oration. Here's another thing. We as a government, we are not here to bring people to do oration to praise sing us from start to end. we want a critical view of how we are performing. Because these critical views, along with good recommendations, will help us to move the country forward. This country is not for us alone in government, it's for every one of us. And so the orator spoke. He highlighted issues that we should consider. And we also, the president did not go on the floor to argue with him. The president said, yeah, we acknowledge that there are certain issues, and as a result, in fact, we are going to take some immediate actions. He also said, stop suspending fire. I mean, I do not totally agree with it. I think in some suspension cases, people need to be investigated, and then the result will show as to whether the person will be prosecuted, dismissed, or brought back on the job. So these are all things that happen, but on the overall, I thought the orator served the country well, and he served opposition, neutrals, and government.
Okay, good. Now, in this part now, we will just flow because we go into the speech itself. Let me go to Anderson. You come from a background of governance, of anti-corruption, accountability, and all of that. There is a place he talked about the progress the government made, and one of that had to do with issue of rule of law, observance of the rule of law. But he also spoke about how the children are singing, and they are saying corruption is still deeply rooted in your institutions. And how do you explain those?
Yeah, the reality on the ground shows that there have been marginal progress under this administration in terms of governance, in terms of dealing with accountability issues. For example, rule of law, there have been some issues. If you look at, the challenges we have, for example, in terms of how the government dealt with the whole saga at the legislature, the executive's involvement, in a way, in my mind, prolonged the situation. It wasn't a show of strong will when it comes to adherence to the tenets of good governance or the rule of law, basically, adhering by what the code says. People may interpret it differently in terms of maybe politicians and all of that, but it was very clear that the position the executive took or the president took in a way prolonged the situation. But beyond that, we've seen some signs of progress, like I said, marginal progress, whether you want to talk about some increases in support to public integrity institutions, you want to talk about the relative improvement in the number of people who have been declaring their assets, incomes, and liabilities based on reports that have come from LCC, whether you want to talk about the...
Let me just bring in this. He said, on anti-corruption and governance, the strengthening of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, and just yesterday the signing of MOU between the Financial Intelligence Agency and the LCC that serves as a conduit toward unified oversight is indeed a step in the right direction.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you look at some of the indicators that the governance indicators that have come up from Transparency International, for example, the Corruption Perception Index report for 2024, it shows that the government improved by 2 points from 25 to 27. When during a period of the previous government, we declined up to 24. But there are major issues also. We've seen some signs of selective accountability on the part of the president. Multiple issues came up, allegations of corruption. He tended to be more forceful and fast in acting on issues that bordered on officials of the previous administration. There were some people he appointed that we can say his own officials that he suspended based on reports that came up, but there were some that he was very slow. Abdullah Kamara, for example, Dor Cooper had to resign by himself despite all the different issues that came up. The government has also been removing people that have tenure, which is bad governance. We see the whole board of commissioners at LTA that have been reappointed or appointed to serve in full capacity now. coming in based on suspension of those that were there on allegation of corruption. But the president kept Mr. Abdullah Kamara in the position for more than a year before suspending him just recently. So that's a sign of selective accountability. We also saw the situation of the central bank, the former governor. He was accused of corruption based on a report from the GAC alleging corruption at the central bank. The government suspended him and promised to investigate and prosecute him. Months later, we saw the government making settlement to him almost in the tune of 400,000 USD. That wasn't a good sign. You can't suspend somebody on account of being involved or implicated in alleged corruption, but then you come months later to make settlement to that person. So these are some of the issues that we have seen with this administration so far. And the fact also that the budgets to these institutions are there, but LCC, for example, will complain about not accessing those resources. Okay. You will be in quarter 3 right now. Is just recently that the office of the ombudsman said they've received payment for the first quarter of the year. We're in the third quarter already. It is the same case with many of the other institutions. So, these are issues that we can talk about. Marginal progress has been made in dealing with corruption. Some of the examples that I cited earlier about the improvements in different indicators. Just our own report to end, we usually produce the state of corruption report. We've been doing that since 2021. About 90% of the citizens we've surveyed across the country have said that corruption level has been very high. Perception about corruption level in the country. The last report we did that fully focuses on this administration shows that number has reduced by 7%. So 83% of people now believe that corruption level is very high compared to the 90% we had in the past. So these are a few things that are positives, but there are challenges along with many others.
Let me come to more on that point by reading this. He said, permit me to also commend you on the strides made in fulfilling the promises outlined in your arrest agenda for national development, from agriculture to roads, rule of law, education, sanitation, tourism. Your government has begun to lay a foundation for national transformation. While much remains to be done, progress is being made, and for that we are grateful. In just a few short months, the government has shown that integrity and public service are not relics of the past, but vital tools for national transformation. And then he highlighted a few areas. You just listened to Anderson as well. What do you have to say?
Well, let me say thank you to Anderson. We don't argue much with the integrity people, but there are a few contradictions.
But you can argue with the political people.
There are a few contradictions, and there are a few things we are missing. Mm-hmm. Anderson talked about selective accountability, which would seem to me as selective justice. But if you go back, and I hope people can check this out, there have been more people that Joseph Boakai appointed who have been suspended, and they are in court on account of corruption in his government, allegations of corruption, than people from the past government. There have been more. The people I can remember are the 3 persons who have been indicted: the former finance minister, the former national security advisor, and another person. Now you check the number of persons from this government.
No, but they have to include the former foreign minister, that whole crew. I think they are in court too, right? On the rice thing. From the previous.
From the rice thing, there are also people who are working in this government who were in the first UP government, the likes of Mary Broad and other, who are there as well. Now, if you look at this one, you look at the LPRC, there are 3 persons from there who are now going through court processes. The very LTA he talked about. Now, the thing is, the president was the one who suspended the LTA commissioners on allegations of corruption, and the commission and audit, the GAC auditor and the president turned the audit report over to the LACC to further authenticate and get evidence that he could hold these people by. The evidence came. Once the evidence landed on the president's desk, he let go of Abdullah Kamara, and they have indicted him. He's going through his court processing. So there are lots of so there are more people from the Joseph Boakai administration whom he appointed that are now being prosecuted than in the past administration. So I don't buy into that argument. And also, we all celebrate, corruption is not something that anyone is going to sit and argue about. It is there. But we also look at the LACC. He said, funding issue. He admitted to increment in funding. LACC, I spoke with people from there. For the first time, their budget has been increased by more than $1 billion in this one, and they are getting funding. They are getting the support, and that is the reason why, despite the fact that there are still challenges, but they are performing more than ever before. The GAC has conducted more audit in the first year of this government than the first year of any government, of any previous government. More audits. And so these things, as we move forward, they will improve as we move forward. And the president, again, like I said, we not just suspend or sack people or prosecute people. You need to have evidence. For example, I can sit on the radio and say, Julius J working at OKFM is more corrupt, is even corrupt. But is that a fact in the absence of evidence? Because if presidents begin to sack people just on the weight of accusations we make on social media or on the radio stations, then it becomes a problem for even your own government. So we acknowledge the criticism, but I can tell you that as we move forward, we will tighten the grip. We will help our president, and if anybody is caught, there will be no sacred cow. Once the evidence are availed to the president, I believe he will act.
Okay, Jacob, what do you say on that?
Yes, I mean, on the corruption side of things, I think that it's hard because, like, for example, we will want the president to act, right, to ensure that public accountability is fostered, but therefore we also would like the president to do that within the confines of the law, because even Liberians who are in the public sector, they have their right. The whole story about the innocent until proven guilty. People have rights. So if you slap an individual with an allegation of corruption, the person must have the right, to clear their name. You must do the investigation. You must get to the veracity of the matter. You have to get to the heart of the issue. You have to allow evidence to lead you, in a particular direction. So we encourage that. On another level, I also would suggest here that if you look at the president or the government approach to prosecuting, so-called people who were the government consider as to be people who probably were found liable in terms of betraying the public trust in previous government. I think the government is found wanting on that. And again, if you look at some of the cases, I don't know, this is something I can go into because, so that you don't cut me off, but if you look at some of the cases, I can see that, and then I follow it very closely. I've been going to the judiciary. Take, for example, again, I want to be careful. I don't want to go into cases that are already before the court, so I try to speak a little bit broadly to say that you see that, government lawyers, seem to be, dilly-dallying around some corruption cases instead of the government, moving expeditiously to court, adducing the evidence and going to the heart of the issue and making sure that, a ruling is brought down to the. We see the government trying to play, delay tactics here and there and undermining the speedy trial in some of these corruption cases. And for me, the reservation I have is that the government, the Joseph Boga government, is trying to politicize some of these cases, which could undermine the fight against corruption. So I think there has to be a drastic separation between the politics of the day and prosecuting cases around corruption. And if government starts to play political tricks here and there in an attempt to try to silence somebody who they potentially see as a long-term political threat, automatically you deflect the entire wall against corruption, and then you politicize it, and then you head nowhere with that kind of matter. So I think the government has to be very, very careful, making sure that they can draw a dividing line between politics and prosecuting corruption cases.
Okay, Anderson, let me give you just 1 or 2 minutes. You made some claims and he reported to them. If you want to make some clarification or further comments to that.
Yeah, so when I said there are signs of selective accountability, part of what I was talking about, for example, is, and when we say accountability here, we're not just talking about dealing with the core issue of corruption. If you look at what happened at the University of Liberia involving Dorkopa, for example, academic fraud. Dorkopa, from what we've told, is very close or was very close to the president. He was accused of academic fraud. The previous administration of the university investigated him and even suspended and dismissed some people that were in cahoots with him in terms of carrying out his fraudulent activity. Despite that, in public outcry and all the different things that people said, at first the mansion said that no formal notice has given to them. That's the word of the presidential secretary, that no formal notice has gone to the office of the president, so he can act. Then months later, more than a year later, Dorkopa was made to resign by himself. We think that wasn't appropriate, especially so when we're talking about sending very strong messages to young people to study very hard and go through the requisite processes to acquire education. To have somebody who was occupying a position of integrity in government, supervising or monitoring what's happening with businesses and all of that, to be implicated at that level, and the president didn't act despite all the questions around suspending him and removing him, and he had to resign by himself. That was selective accountability. I talked about Abdullah Kamara. We're still meeting. What he's talking about was not just a mere allegation. Abdullah Kamara was implicated in a GAC audit report that came up around March thereabout of 2024. We even as Center simplified that audit report that said that his hand was in the cookie's jar. From 2024,
and the others were suspended.
Yeah, the rest he was kept in position. We're not talking about mere allegation here. We're talking about a GAC audit report, and the president had earlier acted on allegations of corruption involving the former board of commissioners, and he removed him. So which one has weight? The one that is said to be an allegation, the one that is said to be a report that has been released by the General Auditing Commission.
So if I'm understanding your argument, it took forever.
It took more than a year
for him to take action.
More than a year for him to act.
Just in 1 minute, what do you say to that? And then I'll go to the next question.
So the only thing I have to tell my friend Anderson is that the GAC audit report itself is not an evidence that you can depend on to prosecute people. And I'm not saying you can depend on it to suspend or dismiss people, right? I believe once the document got on the desk of the president, he acted on it. Now, we can argue about it took long, it took short time. That is an argument for another day, but I don't consider it a selective accountability. I consider it moving with evidence, because the audit report said Mr. Kamara's company, Tama Corporation, went into a deal with the then chair of the Board of Commissioners, and that deal did not live up to the PPCC procurement processes. And so the point now was not only suspension, the point was prosecution, and we reached that point, and so we are moving ahead. And I want to say thank you to Anderson and his team for simplifying that audit report, because it reached the president and he listened to it, and he also compiled that audit report.
A year. That was a very long journey.
And submitted everything. The LACC now investigated and uncovered the evidence, and is on the strength of those evidence the people have been prosecuted. So I want to say thank you. And we urge you to continue your work.
Again, for example, since we're still talking about governance, I think that didn't come around like SOE governance, for example, and that's some of the the ugly things we saw over the past couple of months. In the way the president, tried to supplant, members of his party to some of these public SOE or public entities that had tenure position, and I think that has not really come up in some of that. And I think that's a rule of law, that's a governance issue.
If we want to have that argument, Julius, then we should find a day to go into it. The president saw plenty members of the
absolutely. We saw what happened at LTA.
Okay, so let us move on to the next.
You allow me to just
30 seconds.
Yeah. So my suggestion is that for me, those actions on the part of the president eroded effective corporate governance in these institutions.
Okay.
At the LTA, for example, so ERA people going there to get people in those offices. For me, that was wrong.
Okay.
Just 30 seconds too. When we come to these kind of discussions, my colleague Jacob Jada, who is well educated, should speak from a position of such. Look, you put people in position based on qualification, experience, and everything. You don't put people in position based on partisanship. Now, Akami,
to public offices. I just want to point that out.
Let me just end quickly. Yeah, because we don't have enough time to go through other things.
When you come to the table and tell me that the people you place in positions are not qualified, then we can take the debate from that end. Nobody political affiliations disqualify you from taking a position of tenure.
No, but that's not the point.
Once
you're making a different argument. That's not the point.
Okay, good. Yeah, so let us just move on to the next point. I can still bring both of you.
Exactly.
We can have that debate.
We can go find a border.
On you, the opposition. So I want. He said the bro of political opposition. Democracy is not a spectator sport. No, it's a crowning of any ruling party. It is a constant exchange of ideas. Blah blah blah. Our opposition parties must be respected, not demonized. They are not the enemy of the state. They are part of the machinery of accountability. A nation where opposition voices are silenced is a nation walking into darkness. Let us not fear disagreement. Let us fear apathy. Let us debate passionately but respect one another deeply. Liberia needs strong government, but it also needs strong opposition. Together they form the engines that help the ship of democracy go on sailing. Notwithstanding, we call on the political opposition in Liberia to demonstrate leadership, integrity, and a deep commitment to the democratic principles that unite our nation. As critical stakeholders in our political system, the opposition plays a vital role in ensuring accountability, transparency, and inclusiveness. However, with this role comes a profound responsibility to act in ways that preserve national unity, peace, and public trust. In this pivotal time for our country, it is essential that all political actors engage in dialogue, uphold the rule of law, and reject any form of violence, misinformation, or incitement. Constructive criticism and peaceful advocacy are pillars of democracy, but they must be guided by truth, respect for institutions, and a shared vision for a stable and prosperous Liberia. Our dear leaders in opposition urge you to prioritize the long-term interests of the Liberian people over short-term political gain. What do you make of this whole portion? Was it objective?
No. I think he tried to highlight some of that. But one thing I would say is that, and that sounds more to me like, like a suggestion to the government, but of course to the opposition party. I can understand that. But one thing I will point to here quickly is that the Unity Party or the current government has been found wanting to a great deal of extent in that area. And I'll make that suggestion here boldly. I think if you look at the past, like last year, coming to the close of this year and last year and even now, I think we've seen a kind of systematic harassment of the CDC. I have evidence to that. We've seen the last year, we saw police action on the compound of the CDC. Not once, but twice. We've seen a calculated effort, I will point to that, to politically harass the CDC, which is a major political party in the political realm. And we saw the physical attack or the violence on the chairman of the party. And then we've seen a range of political action, on the part of the government intended to discount the CDC political advantage going up to 2029. Now, some of those actions are subtle, some of them are gross, some of them are visible, some of them are, I manipulated attempt on the cover so that people don't see it. But what I pick up from what the orator was saying down there was to call on the government, those who have power today, to say, look, you have power, you have the authority, legal authority to provide leadership for the country. But while you do that, you have to understand that opposition politics, civil society, opposition as a whole, they do have a very vital role to play in terms of fostering and strengthening democracy. And there's no need to get insecure, about the action of an opposition political party or opposition figure in the country, and then start to deploy all kinds of subterfuge and tactics here and there to try to either undermine or try to hinder the political progress of those political parties. So, broadly speaking, I think it is a warning and it is an encouragement for the government not to get insecure about that.
Okay.
About a strong opposition political party like the CDC that we've seen the Unity Party systematically harass over the past 1.5 years. And so doing that undermines democratic development.
Mo, what do you say to that in terms of what the orator said about the opposition, the disposition the government needs to take? Are you on that path, or are you going to try to get on that path now?
Julius, I believe we are very, very strongly on that path. We respect the opposition because we have been in both wars. Opposition, ruling party, opposition, then ruling party again. And we know how it works very well. The point my friend, my very good friend Jacob is trying to reference is the fact that the CDC that is consistently defined the Supreme Court order to vacate a man's property, a private citizen's property, which they have clinched onto and they've refused to leave.
No. Leave it, let him have a say. And you are saying this with real passion.
With passion.
Yeah.
Because you know what? When we were in similar position and the owners of the properties took us to court, before the sheriff could reach, we are already signed the paper, evicted ourselves, turned the key over. But CDC wants to do everything the Grumble way. Which entity in this country is there to restore sanctity when there are elements who want to engage into violence? It's the police. You do not go into somebody's property. They say, we now want you there. Then you say, no, we'll be here since 2004, we'll be there. When the court has ruled that the man is the legitimate, legal owner of the property. Julius, we come to the political rights thing. You look at the 2025 NCC scorecard on political rights. The minimum score there is 17. Liberia, under the Unity Party government, scored 30, ranked 96%. The current scorecard that is out. That tells us that we are doing marvelously well when it comes to political rights in this country. Okay. There have been no attempt to stifle any political view. If you even look at freedom of information, we're scoring very, very high. So that thing, go settle your problem with Mr. Ibrahima Densto and forget about the UP. We got no part to play in there. Okay. When they evicted or we didn't blame you. So blame yourself.
Okay. We go to Anderson Miame on the issues of political parties, opposition and all that.
Yeah, I believe that as it has almost always been like in Liberia, the environment has been largely conducive for independent voices and even opposition voices to thrive. There might be issues here and there, but Liberia for many years now stands out amongst the nations in or the countries in the region, Africa and West Africa, that has been doing very well around freedom of speech, freedom of expression, civil liberties and all of that. So this is a trend that we need to continue, a path we need to continue to move on. Yes, we can always talk about improving upon the things we do as we move on. There may be times that there may be some, difficult moments between the opposition political party and the government and all of that. But for the most part, even civil society and the media, the challenges we've had with these institutions have been more around structural challenges, funding issues, resource issues and all of that. Yes, violent situations have erupted in some instances in terms of relative maltreatment of journalists, but these things have been occasional, in the civil space for the most part. has been conducive for civil society, for the media, and even the opposition people to operate. So I think that's something that we can give to this government, but not just this government. Even under the CDC-led government, we had a conducive, largely conducive environment for these kinds of engagements. It's something that we can celebrate as a country, especially so since we came from war.
We move on to the final point. Then came President Boakai. I know there are other things in the orator's speech. So tomorrow I have another group. That one will be the international people online. First of all, Mo, I will start that with you. That portion of the speech where the president seemingly admitting to high prices in some areas, tough political times, and setting up that group. I know there are writers of president's speeches, and usually those writers around presidents will want to make the president feel fine. Is it one of those areas where the president himself insists that this thing should be here, or the speech is given to him and he puts that there? And what do you make of it?
So, Julius, President Boakai lives in Liberia the rest of his life, and he knows the reality on the ground. He interacts with people. But also, what we've done, what we've learned to deal with him on, is not to lie to him. It's not to give him a picture of what is not to give him a utopian picture to make it look like everything is bread and butter in Liberia. The first step to solving the problem is to identify the problem. We identify that there are issues, and that is the reason why we said we want to rescue. We cannot come and after 1 year, 6 months, then we say, oh no, everything is now rosy, everything is good. But when we identify, then we can find the solution. And that's why the president and the people who write the speech, with all of us who make little inputs here and there, we said, look, let's be real. Things are not rosy. We are making strides.
Is it part of accepting stance, protest some of the recommendations?
Look, let me say this. STEM is composed of Liberians who have legitimate voices. Whether people protest or not, when they make recommendations, we take those recommendations, we review them, and fit it into our governance process, because we were not elected to govern few Liberians. We were elected to govern every Liberian. And so STEMs, the civil society organizations, one thing we do, everything that comes out, we take them, we analyze them, we write them into policy statement with recommendations and submit them to the president. And he makes the determination, and when they're right, he says, yeah, they're right, let's move on, let's take action. So for me, admitting that everything is now rosy and setting up a committee led by his vice president, whom he trusts so well, to find a solution within 45 days, make recommendations, I think that is a good step.
On that point, before I go to the others have argued there is an economic management team. If the president puts the vice president there, then it means that there is a problem. Two, others think if that problem is that grave, then the president should have formed a committee of outsiders, not those who are there and are seemingly still struggling to find the solutions, setting them up again to find, the way out when they are the ones already there. Perhaps a committee outside of government could have done better.
I don't agree with those arguments. And let me say this. When there are problems, there are statutory bodies responsible in every sector to solve some of these problems, right? They are there. But when emergency comes, we see that we form committees. Like, for example, when Ebola came, we could not have left it to the health ministry. We form an Ebola management team. So this one is not that the president does not trust the economic management team. The economic management team is going to be part of that committee. But the vice president, like the president said, who is an experienced businessman, and he is going to bring that perspective. An experienced businessman, a dedicated civil servant, and a trusted ally of the president is going to oversee the process. It does not in any way negate the fact that there is an economic management team.
Let's go to Anderson on the president coming out in that fashion, all of the issues surrounding it, the setting up of a committee. Where do you stand?
Yeah, I think it is a welcoming development, except that what we've seen over time with setting up of committees, often than not, we don't get to see the real results. This president has set up some other committees or has talked about constituting bodies to review, for example, what's happening at the state-owned enterprises in terms of the salaries and benefits, to look at cutting them down. It's taking ever so long. There's no publicly available information regarding that process, where the committee is with that process in terms of doing that review. We've seen that with previous administrations. So sometimes I agree with you. These things are important to get some independent players and actors on board, especially so if you already sit in government and you see things maybe from a certain perspective, you interact with the issue every now and then. So those from outside can help to bring some fresh perspectives to help you deal with things. So I would think that a body that is more external to the government, not entirely, of course, but comprising of some people from outside that can help with that kind of engagement will, lead to a better result in my mind. But it's a good idea to constitute, bodies, except that the history of us constituting these committees over time have largely not been positive, not necessarily under this administration. I just pointed to one example regarding the engagement around the SOEs or state-owned enterprises to review what they're doing, the payment structure and all of that, especially so in the wake of everything we've seen over time regarding usage, withdrawal, support, for example. We need to make the most of the resources we have. So if in this time and age, people who are better off, who have worked in different places in society, come into government and then making the kind of salaries that we see them making, and the government initiating a process, thanks to the president, by the way, because he initiated some costs, in gasoline and benefits and all of that for ministers. But that piece on the SOE still has to be looked at very carefully, such that we make some reductions and we can have more money going to things that really matter. We didn't have time to talk about the budget, for example, and the allocations to different sectors and institutions. We are still spending far less on the things that really matter. The government is spending almost 40% of the budget on public administration. That's a very huge sum of money when you're talking about the budget and using the budget to impact the lives of the people. So it's important. On commerce and industry, for example, 1% of the budget, is going towards that sector. That's really negligible. If you look at health, for example, you look at education, we're spending 13.6%. The requirement is that we spend between 15 to 20% of our national budget on education. And the point to make also is that while these allocations are in the budget, often than not, they do not reach the spending entities.
That's another thing.
By the time the year is ending, some of the institutions will receive up to just maybe 80%, some of them 75%, some of them 85%. So we need to do more to cut down on waste in government and put monies to where things actually matter to benefit the people more tangibly.
Okay, let's go to Jacob John. The bread and butter issues talked about by the president.
What does the president want to know about prices? His Minister of Commerce should be able to give him issues around prices. The central bank is there. He wants to know something about inflation. And then he sets up an ad hoc team headed by the vice president to know the price of chicken soup and pepper on the market. I don't get that. You see, that's the problem we have here. And for me, I will speak a little bit broadly about Liberian presidents, past and present. I think they're so bogged down with routine, immaterial things. When I say immaterial, these are not big ticket items. These are things. The president of Ghana will set on an ad hoc committee to find out about the price of kenke on the market. He's not going to waste his time. He's going to set up a committee to tackle the big structural issues that will unlock the potential of the economy that will bring prosperity to more Ghanaians, dragging along more people into prosperity. That's what he will do. I will be excited to hear the president of the Republic of Liberia saying, I'm setting a committee to do a deep dive into the structure of our natural resource sector, for example. I want to see that. I want to see what are we doing with gold. I want to see what we're doing with iron. What we're doing with our concession model. Because even, the Central just talk about certain percentage of public resources or budget resources going to public administration. Now, you distributing and redistributing a very narrow pile of public resources. Your big issue right now is to expand the public resources, expand national wealth. 650 million, that's the budget you have from core revenue. I'm not talking about borrowing 150 million from IMF World Bank. That's your capacity now. So if you get 650 million, you get 330 million going to paying for civil servants, maybe 150 million are paying debt. You have nothing to invest in the real sector to bring prosperity for all Liberians. All you're going to do is to pay well-fed public officials, Ali Den and other people, so they do well. Then that's fine. But what happens to the generality of the population, the Mawata, the ordinary people in the rural areas? They want an opportunity to be prosperous. And the current model by the president, I don't think the president, I listened to the Minister of Finance, Gafwan, the other day. With all due respect to Gav, the senior man, we are at the university together. But he sounded extremely, we're not there, but we went to the university, the same university. He sounded extremely repetitive. 10, 15 years ago, he's telling me PFN regulation, budget reform. I don't want to know any of that. The Minister of Finance for Rwanda is talking about expanding road infrastructure. He's talking about bankable plan to build new airports, to expand agriculture, to bring more and more people on board, not to focus on the everyday monotonous routine matters.
So in this,
that's my thing. I want a president who has a big heart.
Okay.
Yes.
And you think commerce and central bank should be able to provide those pieces of information on why prices are high?
They are absolutely routine and clerical. They have the Bureau of Price Analysis, something at Ministry of Commerce. Don't they know the dynamic and the manipulative factors around prices? They should handle that. If the president says, okay, I'm announcing now, the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, we're investigating all our natural resources. We have $650 million budget resource. I cannot accept that. Sierra Leone is 1.3 billion. I think Africa is around 27 billion. Ghana be around 20 billion. That's the trajectory of travel I want to go to, because we need about $1 billion today to probably pave all of our country's road, to expand the economy, to create jobs. We need additional maybe several million. You will tell how much we need to bring and water resources. So the point I'm making here is that I don't think the president, the United Party, are a big thinking party. I think the two-tunnel vision. I want to celebrate the president for trying to deal with the hard structural issues.
Okay.
Now I don't know how much for make it on the market.
Quick reaction to the both of them. Anderson, we hear your recommendation, both you and Julius, but I believe the vice president is not going to take only government people. He is bringing independent outsiders to participate on the committee. I don't think my brother Julius listened to the president. Jala. The president did not say he doesn't know the prices of commodity. Read the speech again. You see the president are coming. The president said import costs have reduced, but we still have prices that are high. There is a contradiction, and I'm setting up a committee spearheaded by my vice president to investigate this contradiction. I come in you've been flying all over the place. I just want a small hole in the back. Give me small chance.
1 minute. Yeah, you can go ahead quickly.
I'm setting up this committee to find out why this contradiction. But the president also said...
hold on. Between the MPA, the Commerce, the LRA, can that information be made available?
So that information can be made available, and that is the reason why you need a TI.
And so what his argument is the president doesn't need a committee to be
set up. No, the president needs it.
The vice president.
The president needs it.
He just needs to ask the relevant people to give the information.
So Julius, you have these entities in there. They are performing their statutory responsibility, and this is happening. And so I, as a president, want to know why it is happening. Maybe there is something missing, and like you are arguing, you need to bring in an independent person. So let me put my vice president, who I will set up a committee to investigate. The president also said our domestic revenue is underperforming. I want to know why. the vice president will investigate that. The vice president will also look at a huge thing like something he talked about in the budget, waste. The vice president is also going to look at the issue of waste in the budget and how we can cut that.
And so for you, that is big. That is okay.
That is big and that is okay because the vice president knows what he's going to do.
Okay. Let us take a few calls, gentlemen. This is the OK conversation on OK FM 99.5. We could go another 2 hours. There's a whole lot. But of course, always constrained by time. We're grateful to our guests. Let's take few calls from you. Before we let them go, all intended to help our democracy, to help our government do better for all of us. 777-700-995, 555-995, the numbers to call. Let's go international. That's where we're starting from. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Hey, good morning, Julius, Mo, Anasi, and Jacob, Patrick, Soa. Julius, Mo said that this government has produced the highest number of audits in a first year than the past government. You didn't ask him the number. We would like to know the audience.
Okay.
But lastly, Julius, Mo, I stand to be corrected, but I'm not sure that our problem is we have not had governments in the past that have more audits report. I don't think so, except I'm reading it wrongly. We have other reports. We have other reports on file on our former president Ellen, on our former president Weir. The audits are there.
I think there are more than 300 under the previous administration.
Right. You are also adding yours there. Mo, don't you think that we should go back for your argument when you were in opposition that President Weir was not serious with fighting corruption? Therefore, you call on him to set up a fast-track code. Don't you think now we can bring back that argument to set up a fast-track code to speed up the audit process? Don't you think so, Mo?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. So kind of let's take another one from Europe. Frank Gibson, welcome quickly.
Good afternoon, Julius. Frank Gibson from Paris. And good afternoon to your guests. More quickly, before I ask my question, could you please tell the public your net salary, how much you earn monthly that go into an account that you deal with? Now,
why you want to know the net salary? What's more thing for him?
More is a public figure, Julius.
Okay,
More is a public figure. Why you cannot tell how much you make? It's very, very important to us.
Right.
More, how far is the 750 feet where that you dump to Bapolu?
No, we didn't know. Let us leave the water and see what issues. Yeah, but next time we will bring it on for that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but do you still stay by your statement that the educational the school that they are building, that project still started from the Ellen Justice and the government? Do you still stand by that? No?
Okay. Thanks. So kindly let's take calls from this end locally. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, brother. Good afternoon to your guests.
Quickly.
And good afternoon to your listeners. I'm teacher from the Borough of Kuta. Yeah, my question goes to Mo Ali. Yeah, brother Mo, I want to ask you, Liberia yesterday on Georgia and Liberia on Twitter Burger. Who's one you prefer? One. My last question to get a color change. The water something that you get to Babolu. It is still functioning?
Okay, let's leave the water business. Yeah. Welcome, and let's hear you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Thank you very much to you, and thanks to your panelists for a brilliant discussion relating to our beloved country. For the recognitions for the public, I'm Pocat Rabbit, and I don't do this even for our unknown destinations. My question goes to Mr. Mo. When you talk about respecting the rule of law, and I see you talking about the CDC or it's not respecting the rule of law, then what will you say about your government, your president, President Mpoka, that he know the only person that have the only person that have the honor to give the rules, which is the court, that he know the ruling and then go by what they're doing. How can you rectify to that?
Okay.
Yeah,
you mean in the House of Representatives, Saga?
Let me make it clear.
My man, hello, Chief. Yeah, when you can't take it easy, you too passionate.
No,
Yeah.
No, you know, I'll listen to you now. Let me be very calm.
Yeah. Take it easy. Yeah. So
I want more talking about the reflecting the rule of law. Like CDC is not reflecting the rule of law.
You said it. We had that one. Thanks so kindly. We got it. I think the House of Representatives is what you're talking about. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Good evening. I'm Clarence Kim. I'm calling from Ghana.
Go ahead.
Samo, thanks so much because the whole debate in there, I have viewed everything. I mean, people comparing 6 months, 6 years to 1.5 years. Okay? Because
people comparing that who compare it.
No, I'm not saying you people in there. The listener and somebody caller.
Oh, okay.
And I getting Mr. Mo very, very well. In the short period of time, the foundation that the government starting, before we cover 6 years, I think more Liberians will get to know where the government heading to.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Mr. Mo.
Thanks so kindly, sir, for your call as well. Welcome. Let's hear you.
David Koti, my name.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Mo Ali, many thanks to you for ably representing the government. You have spoken very well. And I just called because I'm pushed a call. The last caller and Mr. Miami also mentioned a similar thing about the legislature. We have 3 branches of government in this country. What did the president do or say? You expected the president to say, okay, since the court has ruled, I side with. He said, I side with the majority. And what was wrong with that?
Okay.
You wanted the government to side with the minority so the government could get stalled. I mean, nothing going on. The president did nothing wrong. He did the right thing.
Okay.
We have 3 branches of the government.
Thanks so kindly, sir. Thanks so kindly. Let's take this one as well before we come back to them. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Thank you. Eric here.
Go ahead, Eric.
So I'm constrained to call to say that our president have been following the rule of law. That's not true. Our president have no major decision. Take for example, the Supreme Court made a decision in the case of the people from LT, the commissioners. Stay. What happened? He booted them out. He refused to listen. And the issue of the capital building saga. So all of these things trickle that yes indeed rule of law had not been followed in this country. And for someone to say that yes indeed everything is, look, the president admittedly said the president has admitted that yes indeed things are now okay. And so you can't be in studio today to say you want to say that things are fine with the president have said things are not fine.
Thanks so kindly. We'll hold you there. The final one, international. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Hello, Julius. Good afternoon to your panelists.
Yeah, what's your name?
My name is Madri by call from the United States, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
So did I just hear Mo Ali saying that the president cannot dismiss people on the basis of corruption allegations? I can remember just a few months back when the United Party organized the June 7th protest. Owing to that protest, one of the key reasons they organized that protest with the COP was that Samuel Tuer, Nathaniel Magu, and almost all government officials were stealing in their baseball money. So we were calling on President Weah. He was recommending, in fact, he was demanding that President Weah should dismiss these people. Samuel Tuer, Nathaniel Magu, U.S. Falcon, and so many other officials. There is no Ali or Henry Costa at the time provide any evidence for these people to be dismissed.
Okay, thanks so kindly. We'll hold it there. We'll go back to them. Time is already out.
I guess all the time for me because all the questions keep
I'll just give you 1 minute. I'll get it. 30 seconds.
1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute because
I touch
the news coming.
people come.
Yeah.
So let me tell you something, Julius. I don't want to talk about the water system in Bapoli. You sent reporters there before, right? Send them there again. Then they come back with different thing. The guy asked, Frank Gibson asked about the education thing, and I'll tell you again, Frank Gibson, the entire negotiation for that process started in 2016. It was climaxed and the grant was signed in 2019. You do not just go to World Bank process in 1 year and you get the money easily. It was done, and in 2018 the CDC defended. It should have been for 50 million. They defended. They got 47 million. They could not implement. not even a single portion of it to completion, and we are completing it. So yes, we started it. There are documents there are meeting minutes there, right at the Ministry of Education. So start running around with our fake narrative. Look, Julius, I hear people saying, the rule of law. President Baka broke no law. The executive work with the legislature. We know that in legislative proceedings, it is the majority that makes the decision. The president has an agenda, and that agenda can only be approved by majority, not by minority.
Okay.
So that one, we're not going to go into it. And then somebody asks, you say the president can dismiss on allegation. The president will not just dismiss people on mere allegations. Somebody says on Facebook and say, Moali is corrupt, and then the president dismisses. He will dismiss everybody, because if I don't like Julius, I just need to go on the radio and say Julius corrupt, the president dismiss you. You dismiss people based on evidence, and I'm not going to go into the thing with Samuel Twe and Nathaniel Magu. They will discuss the one with the U.S.
Thanks so kindly. We go to Anderson, 30 seconds.
Yeah, thank you, Julius. A couple of things. One, if we can grow our budget, we can get to the level we need to get. And LRA has been opting for more support to be able to get the capacity to mobilize more resources. The legislature needs to work with the executive to do that. Also, we need to see the fight against corruption as a resource mobilization tool or strategy. The way people see it is, we're putting some money here, we're giving some money to LCC. When we strengthen safeguards in government, we can get far more than we're receiving right now in terms of revenue. But beyond that, some of the resources that donors bring here and pass through third parties. Every time a donor has $1 for you and it passes through Julius' share, portion of that $1 goes to Julius' share to administer that money. So if we're trustworthy enough, resources will come to us directly. They won't have to go through third parties. The president, as the national the orator said, has to move a little bit more away from suspension. We've seen suspension a lot. I like the fact that, my colleague Mo Ali is now talking about evidence and all of that. We didn't hear much about that, especially when they were in opposition. They were saying George Weah didn't act, he was suspended, but that's okay. But the point is, there are some things that those who work in the executive work at the will and pleasure of the president. The president can decide today that Mo Ali, you are not here right after the show. He can receive a letter and then he's gone. So why is it true that people's rights should be protected and all of that? But when it comes to those who work for and on behalf of the government, especially at the will and pleasure of the president, he can act at any time. So, that whole thing about evidence and all of that, yes, you need that. But if certain things come up and they're very grave, you can act to safeguard public trust and interest in that process.
Jacob, 30 seconds.
Yes. So I can say that, particularly cueing in from what the orator said about natural resource. I just want to end on that. It's obvious here, and I can say this. People listening to us today are somebody who spent a great deal of time doing development work and all of that. I don't think the Unity Party, the current government, is able to do the big transformation that it needs to do to create jobs, to create prosperity for a broad majority of people. I think all of what they currently engage in is basically clerical, is basically routine. They're not being able to do the big transformative things that are required to bring prosperity to all Liberians. Reform, agriculture transformation, natural resource sector reform, expanding the budget, building new economic sectors. They have not taken all the big tax yet, and they stay scratching on the surface. So I think it may seem as a hopeless situation, but they do have a chance. They have 2-3 more years to go to start taking on the big things that will bring prosperity and success to all Liberians.
Thanks so kindly, gentlemen, for being here. We appreciate it. My name is Julius, Chair. We will also insist that the evidence we have so far say the IRS project started in 2019. Until the previous administration, the current administration of Mo Ali can produce the evidence that the discussion started in 2016. We and our fact check remain on that account. Thanks so kindly. We are out.